Recently, I went and made an endgame Magic Find Poison Nova Necromancer build guide. Try saying that 5 times fast. Which is a very fun build and arguably one of the best pit running builds in the game. However, for those that don't have a lot of endgame gear, or whom want to give this build a try without having to invest a lot of time farming for gear, you don't actually need endgame gear to make this still fun to play. In today's video, I'm going to go over the build for the budget Magic Finding Poison Nova Necromancer, a great build that gets still wreck with using a majority of nightmare focused gear in held difficulty. I'm going to go over the attributes, the skill tree, the gear for my character and my mercenary, and afterwards I'm going to show you guys some gameplay so you could see this build in action. But do keep in mind that when it comes to this build, there are different ways you can be able to gear the character depending on your needs, whether you're trying to go for maximum DPS, you're trying to do a Magic Find character, or a hybrid of the two. Just keep in mind when it comes to looking at the gear choices that I'm going to be choosing, that you can choose alternative gear depending on the demand that you have for your build. Before we actually get into the build, the comment shout out for this video is going to be Mark Blackburn from my video going over the Summoning Druid taking on Diablo clone and then attempting Ubers, giving me suggestions for alternative items to be able to use to hopefully handle Uber Tristram much easier. Thank you for your suggestion, and if I ever give this another go, I'll give the items you suggested a go to be able to see how well it plays out. Hopefully better than the last time. Now let's go ahead and get into the video. For the attributes, this is a max vitality setup, meaning we have just enough points into strength to be able to equip the gear, and the rest is put into vitality, nothing into energy. For the skill trees, starting with the summoning skill tree, we have 1 point into Raise Skeleton Mage, and Revise for all of the skills on the right. These aren't mandatory to use, however, this is a very budgeted build. So for those wanting to have something between them and whatever they are fighting, especially surrounded by a large mob of enemies such as in the Cow level, having summons can be very helpful. However, do keep in mind that when using Poison Nova, the physical damage of your summons will interrupt your poison damage. But if the poison damage has already lowered their health down enough, having them deal damage can help start to get corpses to explode. Last point on them, skeletons spread out from you automatically if you teleport, while Revives won't move until you move, so make sure to keep that in mind. Then 1 point into Clay Golem, Blood Golem, and Iron Golem, as we will use him with Insight to free up what our mercenary could then use for his weapon. Then 1 point into Skeleton Mastery, 1 point into Summon Resist, and then maxed out Golem Mastery, as points into the Mastery does more overall for the skill, comparatively speaking to putting additional points into Iron Golem. His survivability is important for our mana regeneration to not have to use mana potions, especially for tele-stomping around and using Poison Nova. Now to the Curses skill tree, we have 1 point into all the prerequisites to unlock Lower Resist. We'll come back to this skill tree in a moment once we cover the Poison and Bone skill tree, because we're going to go over 2 options where you can put your remaining skill points into and why. Lastly, for the Poison and Bone skill tree, we have 1 point into Bone Armor for a bit of added protection, and then 1 point into Bone Wall because the goal with the AoE, or Area of Effect, with the Poison Nova skill is to kill as much within the radius as possible as you can cast the skill, thus increasing your clear speed. Having 1 point into Bone Wall can help aggro over enemies off-screen closer to you, and make the killing of everything around you a little bit faster. It's not a requirement, but can be helpful especially in quite large areas to bring enemies closer to you for very little extra work. Moving on, 1 point into Teeth, Corpse Explosion, and maxed out Poison Dagger, Poison Explosion, and Poison Nova, as this is going to be our main skill to be able to deal damage before we explode everything with Corpse Explosion. Here's where the argument can be made for putting the remaining points into either Corpse Explosion or Lower Resist. You get the full benefit of the max effectiveness with the damage with the first point you put into Corpse Explosion, meaning any additional points into it doesn't increase the damage. And with Lower Resistance, the more points you add into it, the lower the resistances will go. Adding points into either skill will also help increase the radius of the skill's effectiveness, but with Lower Resistance, you will benefit more with the damage of your Poison Nova being more effective. So you can try to 50-50 and put points into both to be able to have a good radius for each skill. Or you can choose more Lower Resist AoE and not have to cast it everywhere and lower more resistances. That, or you can choose more Corpse Explosion AoE and not have to spam it when exploding the entire room. It's a personal preference, but I went with Lower Resist as I want the damage from Poison Nova to be more effective with more enemies' resistances lowered and fewer clicks to be able to do it. For the gear, starting from the top, because this is a Magic Find build, I'm using my Shaco socketed with a perfect Topaz for increased Magic Find, plus to skills, and boost to life and mana, and lastly, the damage reduction. The amulet is Saracen's Chance for the boost to resistances and attributes. The body armor is Skin of the Viper Magi for the plus to skills, faster cast rate, help with the resistances, and I socketed it with an Istrune for some Magic Find. The weapon is Spirit and a Crystal Sword for the plus to skills, faster cast rate, faster hit recovery, and the boost to our vitality and mana. This is paired with Spirit and a Monarch for all the aforementioned reasons, but in the shield has also help with poison, cold, and lightning resistance as well. The boots are just random rare boots that have faster run walk, dual res, and some Magic Find. The first ring is a Necro ring with 30% magic find. The belt is a crafted caster belt for the faster cast rate, and it also has faster hit recovery, strength, mana, life, and the mana regeneration will help with not running out of mana, especially in crucial moments where we would need to spam Poison Nova. The second ring is also a Necro ring with 30% magic find. The gloves are Triangle's gloves for the FCR, plus the curses, but also for the boost to our poison damage, which is both very helpful and needed for this poison focused build. However, if you don't have a pair of Triangle's gloves, using Mage Fist is a great alternative because the plus to fire skills actually does work with adding points into Corpse Explosion, as the skill does both half physical damage and half fire damage. On Switch, I'm using a teleport charge staff to be able to move around faster. In the inventory is my cube, both tomes, the only grand charm is a Geet's grand charm for the magic find, and the rest are all a sort of small charms with either resistances, magic find, faster hit recovery, or life. Going over the additional stats, for as budget as this build is, we still have just over 250% magic find. We have also hit the 152% faster hit recovery breakpoint, as well as the 125% FCR breakpoint. The Mercenary is budget as well, and he is the Act 2 Holy Freeze Mercenary, as again, we are very budgeted, and survivability is very important to consider with this build. He's using Vamp Gaze for the damage reduction and Life Leech to help him stay alive easier, Treachery for the IAS boost and Fade proc for his own resistances, and Obedience for his weapon to help him deal quite a bit of damage, especially with the extra boost to his attack rating once the enchant proc goes off. The reason he isn't using Insight is because we're going to have our Iron Golem be made with Insight to be able to get the Meditation Aura, freeing our Mercenary to be able to help with getting the first kill so that way I can Corpse Explosion the entire room. Now that we've discussed the attributes, the skill trees, the gear for my character and my Mercenary, let's go ahead and check out this build in action to see how well it actually plays out. Even on a budget, this build can still destroy very fun areas to play, especially for those graylings such as in the pits, or rune farming in cows. Down in level 2, teleport to the center of the lowest area and watch as the room explodes, and if possible, chain the corpse explosions together to be able to clear the entire screen in only a few clicks. When casting Poison Nova, you want to cast once, wait a few seconds, and then recast, as spamming the skill will reset the time of the poison damage being dealt to not be fully effective. Do keep in mind that this budget build, and any of my other ones past, present, and in the future, are builds that are centered around players wanting to test out a build without a lot of investment put into them. More so just mulling over gear from another character onto what is being shown, as a means of getting an idea if the build would be something that would interest them into trying to gear them up for endgame use. As many expressed in my endgame build video that they still felt it was budget, but I have yet to find a Death's Web for the more poison damage potential, and another person saying that it looks like a normal summon Necro using Corpse Explosion. Both are valid criticisms, but I can only show in the build what I currently have available to use. The same goes with this build and all of my budget builds. Granted that there are better in-slot items to use, but these items, especially in this video, are more common all-purpose items to allow players to try something new, understand the playstyle, see how well it handles areas that cater to the build's strengths, and from there, decide if this build is something that they are interested in, all while still being fun, does good damage, and has good survivability. However, if you are interested in an endgame Magic Find version of this character, check out my video going over said build that still wrecks without the use of Death's Web or Bramble, and also has great clear speed and survivability. That build makes light work of the pits, and PETA will get mad with how effortlessly it sends all the Hell Bovine to the slaughterhouse. Links down in the description below. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and were able to see if this build would be something that you would be interested in going into the future, and if anything, at least just enjoyed the video. If you like this kind of content, want to see more, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever a new video comes out.
Come on. Come on. Come on then. There you are. There you are.
And if you like this video, please let me know by leaving a like. It really is appreciated to be able to help my channel to grow. And if you want to see more of my Diablo 2 Resurrected content, make sure to click the card in the corner up above to check out my Diablo 2 Resurrected playlist with a lot of videos already in it, with a lot more coming in the very near future. Other than that, I hope you guys are staying safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.